Empire.
Hello and welcome to my podcast. Do me a favor, subscribe to the John Keim Report wherever you get your podcast. You're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You can find us there as part of Empire Media. That's AMPIRE. Always much appreciated when you tune. And don't forget, you can read my work on ESPN.com. And for you Gold members, I'll be doing a private Zoom session at 7:30 Eastern Time on Friday. So I'll join you for that. It'll be 4:30 my time, but 7:30 your on the East Coast. And look for the link. Join me there. Bring your questions. Bring your comments. And we'll go from there. If you want to become a club member, go to the Empire Media YouTube page. Do it on your laptop, easier to find. See the word join, click on that, go from there. I will be getting some more ex-players on here pretty soon. So today I'm joined by a special guest, former Washington Redskins quarterback Colt McCoy. Always liked talking to him when he was here because he provided really good insight. And I always felt he'd be a good coach or broadcaster. And right now he's a broadcaster. In fact, when I talked to him, he was on the way to East Lansing, Michigan to cover the Ohio State-Michigan State game. So there are a couple of times where the audio was a little bit tough because he's in a car, he was being driven in a car. And so there are sometimes, but bear with it. It's really good. There's only a couple of very minor hiccups with that. So, but the rest of it really good. Colt McCoy, always very good. He played for Kliff Kingsbury. He studied Jayden Daniels before the draft. And then he also has paid attention to him after the draft. And he does a weekly he does breakdowns for Underdog Fantasy. I'll ask Colt about that at the end. You can find all that stuff. You can listen to him at the end of the interview and find out all what he's doing and where. But he does a really good job with it. That's why I wanted to bring him on. He played for Kingsbury. He knows the Cardinals, and there you go. So for Saturday, I'm going to be doing another podcast and I do my 5 things I think, but I'm combining that with my interview with Josh Weinfuss, our ESPN Cardinals reporter, just kind of getting you ready for the game at that point, because there's a lot of stuff you need to know. Where are they vulnerable? What are they doing well? What's the difference in Kyler Murray this season? Because he sees a big difference and he'll explain why. And then their thoughts on defending Jayden Daniels. So anyways, also, before I get to Colt, I just want to go over, just don't have a lot from today out here in Arizona, but I do want to give you the injury report. Some of the other stuff I get, I'm going to talk about it on Saturday. But for the injury report, obviously, Cleveland Farrell and Eckler are out. Jamison Crowder did not practice because of a calf injury. You saw him walking around with his right calf taped. Sam Cosmi was limited with an Achilles. He did not practice on Wednesday, so limited is an improvement. Benjamin St-Juste also limited with a chest injury or issue. He was wearing a yellow jersey signifying no contact. And then Emmanuel Forbes was full, and he's coming off the thumb injury. He's been full the last couple of days, so clearly he's going to play. He was wearing a padded glove on his right hand to protect that thumb. Quan Martin was limited yesterday, was full today. So there you go. And then Johnny Newton has been full all week, but he's listed on the injury report because of his foot, but he's been full, so he's going to be fine. So anyways, folks, that's it from me. Now, here's my conversation with Colt McCoy, former Washington Redskins quarterback.
TD, Tutty, in for 6. Touchdowns matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We don't care how they score them. We want to bet on touchdowns, and DraftKings Sportsbook is delivering. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score a touchdown. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. Ready to do a touchdown dance of your own? New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the Sportsbook app and use code KEIM, that's code KEIM, K-E-I-M, for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
First of all, Colt, it's always good to see you. I miss talking in the locker room. Your insight was always very valuable, and that's why I want to have you on, because I know you still study quarterbacks, you're still involved, still around the game, et cetera. So I do want to start though with Jayden Daniels, and I know you scouted before the draft, and I'm curious how much you've been able to watch him. What have been your early impressions of him?
Yeah, I mean, he is playing great football. Look, I love Kliff Kingsbury. Real tight with him. Got to play with him for a couple years in Arizona, and I think Kliff's had his eye on him for a long time. I know that was the guy that they wanted, and kind of fell to him there at number 2, and it has been really fun to watch those two. I really feel like they're on the same page, especially for 3 games into the season. They're really clicking. One of my old teammates, Zach Ertz, is there.
Yeah.
He was telling me that Jayden Daniels is a stud early on in camp, and so I mean, when you watch him in college, you obviously know like he's ridiculously talented. Throws a beautiful deep ball, very accurate. Can also get yards with his legs at any point. I mean, just very talented. My biggest concern for them is just keeping him upright. He when things break down, he has the ability to just go make it a ridiculous highlight play. And those are awesome. But the more that they can, just control him, kind of, run keepers and keep moving the launch point for him. That way he doesn't feel like he has to run all the time, I think is really good. And I mean, what you saw on Monday night against the Bengals was just, I mean, it was awesome. Really, really impressive.
I'm going to ask you about certain other mechanics of the position playing as a rookie, because you had to do that too. But what stood out to you Monday night? And I mean, that touchdown throw to McLaurin was an unbelievable situation and result for him. But what stood out to you?
Yeah, look, I've been in a lot of situations like that throughout my career, where you get up and you're playing against Joe Burrow and the Bengals, right? They can score. And what I loved watching in the game was just Kliff and Jayden's communication. Like, hey, we are not letting our foot off the gas here, right? Like, let's stay within the plan, stay within the scheme. And he did a really nice job of just not letting that pressure of, I'm playing Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow. Like, I'm just gonna run and execute my offense. And they kept the lead the whole time. And that's a sign of maturity. That's hard to do, to be honest, on the road, in a primetime game. And for me, that's what jumped out the most. He played awesome, but just keeping his foot on the gas, executing the system, finding the guys, making the deep throw to Terry there at the end of the game, wanting to go for it on 4th down. Those are things that, just playing the position. It's like, I know that's hard to do. And they never let up, and it was fun to watch.
On that touchdown pass, when you look at it from a quarterback's perspective, what was the biggest thing that stood out?
Well, I think obviously he throws a great deep ball, and he knew he was getting heated up, and he wears one on us, and any play against one. You still got to stand in there, take a shot, and make the throw, and he did, and that was big time. And I heard a lot of people talking like Terry's not. I mean, I've Kliff. Like, Kliff has a very good sense of how to get guys open based on alignment or based on formation or based on how he wants to attack certain coverages. It was only a matter of time before Terry got going. So I don't think you'll see him very often in those one-on-one coverages unless people are blitzing and coming after him. So it can be challenging at times, but within that system, guys are going to get their touches, and Jayden's just doing a really nice job of implementing or playing the way that Kliff is calling. They're on the same page, and for again, like, I think the biggest point for me is 3 weeks into the season, to be 2-1. They the week before they didn't score a touchdown, but they moved the ball up and down the field. That there's some really positive momentum there for sure.
And when you watch, because Kingsbury's offense, and I don't know how different it is, he's around some different coaches, but the offense, and when you're watching it, how much has been implemented so far, and where can it get to as they become more and more, as you know, Jayden becomes more experienced and Kliff knows him a lot better? How much are you seeing and where can it get to?
Yeah, I think if I was to say anything, they need to run the football better.
Okay.
They have good running backs. They got a good front. Those guys, Cosme and those guys are doing well. But I still think there's a lot of room to run the football and a lot of ways to improve in that area. And think they I think they'll lean on that this week. I watched the Cardinals pretty closely. All those guys are I still pull for them. They're great guys, and but I think if you're attacking the Cardinals, you run the football, and so I expect for them to kind of lean on that a little bit and open some things up for Jayden, because at the end of the day, Jayden running for first downs is not gonna be sustainable for 17 weeks, and I think getting Robinson going. I know Eckler's out this week, but just and a lot of things that Kliff does is built off of those run plays, whether that's some keepers, moving the pocket, whether that's play action passes out of the shotgun or underneath the center. I think just being able to establish a little bit more of a presence in the run game, instead of getting 2 to 3 yards a carry, you start getting 5 or 6 here and there. That really helps Kliff's system.
What did you think of the Bengals comments about simplistic offense, college system?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I've played for Kliff, and when you're moving the football and you're staying ahead of the chains and you're efficient and you're making good decisions like Jayden is, I mean, the opportunities are going to be there, and he's going to dial them up. And I think Kliff is really good. He's smart, and I think all the receivers understand, like, we're all eligibles and we all have a chance to get a touch, and that you definitely saw that against the Bengals
with Daniel. So you had to play as a rookie too, and obviously, how hard is it to I guess play with that level of poise as a rookie?
Yeah, listen, it is. It's not easy. I think when I watch those games pretty closely, like having a solid veteran tight end who's real savvy and can find ways to get open, and Ertz, like that's a really good thing to have in your hip pocket, right? He found him a lot on third down. That's a huge deal. Zach's played a ton of football, and he definitely knows how to find soft spots in the defense. Then you have Terry and the emergence of Noah Brown, and you a lot of screens and quick stuff to get the ball out of your hand. Like that, Kliff is really good at spreading the field, taking shots when they're there, like giving the quarterback flexibility to make those decisions and those reads. And that's what I've been most impressed, is sort of understanding Kliff's offense and knowing his progressions and where he wants the ball to go. Jayden's putting it there, and when he's doing that, Kliff has a wide open playbook, and just really feels like they are on the same page, and that's why it's so fun to watch.
It's funny you bring that, because like one thing that I noticed with Kliff, he makes you defend every inch of the field. Like they're going to throw vertical a lot. They're going to motion the back out here, and they're going to throw to him. You have to honor all that. Is that pretty much what you're talking about? Is staple?
Yeah. Look, I mean, Kliff definitely has some college background, right? But he's been in the NFL for a long time.
Right.
He knows how to call plays in the NFL. The difference between the two is that you just see so much more complex coverages and pressures that you got to be able to protect, first of all, and then for the quarterback, it's knowing when you have those one-on-one opportunities and being able to capitalize on those. The rest of the time, it's like knowing when to check it down, knowing when to run. I think Jayden, has had some moments where guys are open and he just scrambles with his feet, and that's okay, right? Like he has that ability that not a lot of people do. But Monday night, I felt like he checked the ball down. Kliff called enough screens to sort of make that, and some quick game to sort of make that an extension of the run game that kept them, ahead of the chains. And if Jayden just continues to just do what Kliff is asking, right, the shots are going to be there. The big deep balls to Terry are going to come. Like, don't force any of those things. And for a young guy to be able to, I don't know that he has that figured out yet, but it sure seems like he's got a pretty good grasp of what Kliff is drilling in his head. Like, no, it's okay. 3 yards is okay right here. Give me 2nd and 7. We got plenty. Don't give me 2nd and 15. And he's doing that right now at a pretty high level. And I think that's why you're seeing the efficiency that you're seeing so far.
It's funny that you say that, because like one of the things that impressed me was that how good Terry McLaurin can be. And the first 2 games he's not getting a lot, but I was impressed that Jayden wasn't forcing it to him. And I mean, how important is that? You want to get him the ball, but if the play, whatever, is taking you somewhere else, then that's where you're going to go. And he wasn't forcing it to him.
Yeah, listen, Terry is a very special player. I didn't get to play with him very much, but what he brings to the table. He's gonna take double coverage at times. He's gonna win his one-on-ones when you give him that opportunity. And Terry's not gonna be the guy that is always complaining about wanting the ball. And so that's why you love playing with Terry. And he's a very friendly target. And for a young guy, knowing that you have him out there on the field helps a ton. But I think probably what Kliff is saying is like, hey man, he's going to get involved. Like he's going to get his touches. Just let it develop, let it happen, and when it does, let's make it work. And I thought Terry did a great job, Monday night. But at the same time, he's the ultimate pro, and to that's a luxury for Jayden Daniels to have. Not a lot of young guys have as high caliber player and person like that in the locker room. And so I think that's pretty cool.
I agree with that. And I think he also knew that it was going to come, because you saw it in the
For
summertime,
sure.
and you just knew that it was going to come. You've also been around, you were able to run, very well as a quarterback, but you've been around other quarterbacks, Kyler, Robert, that did that. What's the hardest thing to learn when you're able to do that? And what have you seen from Jayden, just either whether it's keeping your eyes upfield, things like that?
Yeah, listen, I don't love to compare players to other
Right.
people, but I will say that Jayden and Kyler are very similar, not from their build or their body type, but from their accuracy and from their ability to like make plays with their legs. They're both elite at that. And Kliff obviously knows how to coach that. And he doesn't ever want to take away, your God-given abilities to play football. He wants to rein those in and give you easy completions and give you outlets and give you opportunities to push the ball down the field and make plays. And then, there'll be a few design runs here and there. And just learn how to get down, learn how to take care of yourself. If it's not there, it's okay. Like we don't have to have the home run play every time. And a lot of times I think, for Jayden, I really think when he has the ball in his hand, he feels like, he's unstoppable, which is a really good place to be. But again, I guess my point is, through 3 weeks, it's just impressive how good of a grasp he has on the system and what Kliff's coaching him to do, and that he's trusting that. Right? A lot of times for a young guy, it's like, man, if it's not there, I'm just going to take it down and run and make a play and kind of street ball it a little bit. And he definitely has the ability to do that, but I'm more impressed with the coaching from Kliff to him. Like you can just tell that he's bought in and he trusts his guys around him. He knows he has a good tight end. The running game needs to step up a little bit to help him out. But at the end of the day, they're on the same page, and that when that is clicking, Kliff is going to give you every opportunity to make things happen in the pass.
How happy how much do you think Kliff is enjoying just being an offensive coordinator at this point?
Oh, he's so happy. He's so happy. I mean, Kliff is a grinder. I mean, he's the first one in the building. I try to beat him in the building sometimes, but there's no way I can get there at 4 a.m. consistently, right? And that's Kliff. He lives and breathes, offensive football, and he'll draw up some crazy concepts during the week, and you're like, huh? Like I don't know about this. When I see this, I'm going to get to it. Just trust me. And sure enough, you would go out there and it would be there. So I also like the way Kliff, calls the game from the standpoint of like, it's pretty easy for guys to line up. It's pretty easy to know where guys are going to be. It's not, extremely, the way he teaches it is not real wordy. It's not real complicated. But it certainly is on like you do that. Like there is a high standard when you got the ball in your hands in that offense, because there's a way that Kliff wants it done. And again, I think that's thinking is that, through 3 weeks of the season, Jayden's growth each week is very impressive.
How much do you think it helps him? Just he only has to worry about that. It's not that he wasn't a good head coach, but it's, just taking that responsibility away and just focusing on the offense. How much can that help him evolve even?
Yeah, I think it's great. I also think having Dan Quinn there is a blessing for everybody. I mean, I think his presence, his demeanor, his his positivity towards everybody, and nothing's he's a very good coach. I mean, I haven't spent much time with him, but I just know his reputation and how guys talk about him. I think that's very helpful for the team, but I also think that's very helpful for Kliff. Just Kliff, we're calling, he's just focused on calling plays, and Dan's making the decisions on if we're going to go for it or not, or all the head coaching responsibilities, and I think that's really relieved Kliff. I think he's in a great place, and when I talk to him, he's very happy and upbeat, and sometimes being a head coach in the NFL is hard, man. There's a lot of responsibilities there, and so I think Kliff is in a great spot there with Jayden, and loves him, and they're on the same page. And look, the NFL is hard. They're going to go through some ups and downs. Jayden's a young player, but through 3 weeks, I just sense that there's a lot of trust there between those two, and that's a really good sign for the Commanders.
Just a couple more here. Zach Ertz, you brought him up, and he loves playing with Kliff too. And he's actually, he's been a very good player since he's been here, even watching him in training camp and et cetera. What stands out to you about him?
I think not only him as a player, he's one of my great friends, closest friends. He's also really smart, like really smart. And so his ability to be on the field and help guys get lined up and kind of, relay the routes, or if there's a check, he's constantly communicating with guys outside of him, getting guys lined up in the right spot. Kliff's real big on, the details. And so if I tell you to line up on the inside edge of the numbers, line up on the inside edge of the numbers, don't line up on the numbers, right? And so to have Zach out there, been through the system, played a lot in Arizona, to come in and sort of be that guy to help communicate and help Jayden out, that's huge. I mean, that's a small part, but it's a very important piece to what they're doing. And Zach is a special player, obviously, but his communication and his ability to help Jayden get everyone lined up and in the right spot, like that's a big help for a young guy.
I want to ask about you too, because you were retired, now you're doing broadcasting. How are things going for you?
Yeah, man. Thanks for asking. It's good. I'm working for NBC. I'm calling some college football games. It's really hard, but it's also a lot of fun, and there's an art to it. I think I'm getting better each week, and learning how to really sort of give my analysis, and I think it's easy and comfortable for me to talk X's and O's. But you're really trying to relate to the viewer and the people who are watching the game, to help them understand what's going on, both sides of the ball, big picture. And it's for 3 hours. There's really no break. I'm used to coming off the field and looking at the tablet and figuring out what we're doing on offense, and now you're in the booth talking defensive scheme. And so it really is a ton of fun, and I'm enjoying it, but it's an art, and it's hard, and I'm working to get better each week.
And I know when you went from here, when you left here, I think you went to the Giants, and you remember talking to the time, like you wanted to go experience some different offensive systems. How much is that going to help you, whether broadcasting or if you wanted to get into coaching?
Yeah, all that is good. I certainly look at the coaches and the systems that I got to be around as a positive. Sometimes when you're a young guy and you're dealing with all those changes, it can be hard. But I feel like I've got a lot of arrows in my quiver and seen a lot, and went from the Giants to the Arizona, where I was with Kliff for 2 years, and it was a ton of fun. I had my chances. I think I struggled with injuries, especially in times where I felt like I could have held on to a job for a long period of time. I just stay healthy, and that was kind of my deal. But at the same time, the things that I've learned, the people I've got to be around, obviously is a big blessing. And whether it's calling games or getting back into coaching or whatever I decide to do, that will certainly help.
Awesome, Colt. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. I really do enjoy it. And oh, by the way, you tell people you're doing the work with Underdog too. So tell them about that.
Yeah, Underdog is great. It's a great company, awesome guys. Actually, I do a little show each week called Scheme with Josh Norris, and we break down different offenses across the league, doing some cool stuff, and just want to highlight that and sort of go in depth a little bit of why this worked, why they're running it this way, and so that's fun. And then we got a little Clean Pocket show. Jay Gruden's on there with me, a couple of my older teammates, AQ Shipley, Justin Pugh. These guys are really knowledgeable, and that's more of a round table kind of discussion on things that are going on across the league. But their analysis and their ability to kind of express what they're seeing is really. I mean, I learn a lot each week talking to them. That's a really fun group to have a show with, and we've had a great time so far, and yeah, they're fun.
That's a good group.
They're awesome.
And I'm glad that Jay is doing more of that, because Jay is really, really good he knows offensive football like few do. So it's
Jay's. I mean, listen, I tell people all the time, when I got to Washington, it was a bumpy road, but to get there, but I really sort of found my love for the game again with Jay, and I learned so much, and their expectations of me were really high, and got to be with Sean McVay and Kevin O'Connell, and they're the best coaches in the league, and I certainly think Jay could still be coaching now if he wanted to, but having him on the show and listen, he's hilarious. But he knows as much football as anybody that I've ever been around, and super smart, and seeing the game the way he sees it is still enlightening for me, but I think also for the viewer and for the fan, he brings a great eye to all the things that are going on.
I agree. Colt, thank you very much, and enjoy what you continue to enjoy what you're doing. It's always fun. I like tuning into that show because I learned from when watching you, and was it whether it was before the draft when you're doing it or now doing it now. So always good. And you have a great career, whichever direction you eventually go. So thanks a lot, man.
All right, man. Well, I'm still pulling for the Commanders too. I mean, I love Kliff. I think that they're on their way to doing, surprising some people this year. Listen, it's a long season, right? Like it's a long season, but if Jayden can continue to trust, what Kliff is running, I think he's got good pieces around him. They need to run the football a little bit better, but they will. They'll be fun to watch.
I agree. It's 3 games. It's been fun to watch the offense especially. So thanks, Colt.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, John. See you.
Hey, it's Bram Weinstein here, voice of the Commanders, and of course, frequent guest of this podcast, The John Keim Report. I wanted to let you all know that my show, which airs at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on ESPN 630, is now exclusively produced by Empire Media, my company, and is going to be distributed through our network. So I'm asking you, please, if you subscribe to this show and love this show, give mine a try as well. Subscribe to the Bram Weinstein Show wherever you get your podcasts, and many of the shows and many of the elements that are in the show will be available on the Empire Media YouTube channel. We're going to talk a ton of Commanders and other DC sports. Check it out.
That's it for this episode. Thanks to Colt for joining me, and thank you, as always, for tuning in. I'll be back on Saturday with another episode, 5 Things I Think, and plus my interview with ESPN Cardinals reporter Josh Weinquist. Talk to you next time.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.